Alright, what's up guys, Toasty here, Get Burnt, and today I'm going to be doing a video talking more about Dragon Ball Z games, and today I wanted to do a video kind of like the Budokai Tenkaichi 4 video that I did, but this time with Budokai 4 and Burst Limit 2. So I know what a lot of you are already going to say in the comments down below. First of all, you're going to say that Budokai 4 already exists as Infinite World, and obviously a lot of you are also going to say Burst Limit. Those two are obviously kind of successors to the Budokai series. Burst Limit is a kind of redone imagining of the Budokai series, but on the new consoles, and then Infinite World was kind of just like Budokai 3, but at least trying to advance what Budokai 3 had, as well as changing mechanics like removing the Dragon Rush and all that stuff. So, you know, personally, Infinite World is technically not a Budokai game. I know that it does say on the box, I believe it does say that it is something of a Budokai game, but for a lot of people, it's not in the title, so it isn't a Budokai game. I love Infinite World to death. I'm not going to say I don't, because I do. I love Infinite World to absolute death. I love it more than Budokai 3 even, but yeah, so I'm not going to count it today as a Budokai game. But I kind of wanted to talk about if we should get another Budokai or Burst Limit game. So a lot of people have been actually asking for a Burst Limit 2 for quite a long time. Actually, ever since Burst Limit came out, people were asking for a Burst Limit game because, you know, the Burst Limit game itself actually left out a whole bunch of stuff that could have been expanded upon. Like, it left out the Kid Buu, like entirety of that arc. It left out all of the other movie characters that they could have added in. They left out a whole bunch of stuff. They left out a whole ton of things, so a lot of people did not like it a lot, only because it didn't have a lot of replay value. All you had was a story mode, you had some challenge modes, and then you had the free battle, which only had like around 22 characters, I think, and then that was it. Burst Limit didn't have anything else really to do besides that. Burst Limit itself, in my personal opinion, in terms of its art style, in terms of all of the gameplay and everything like that, is magnificent. The only thing I could knock in Burst Limit, in my personal opinion, is the key system in that game, how it automatically regains ki. I don't really kind of like that. But yes, that is really the only thing that I could say I don't like about Burst Limit. Burst Limit itself, in my personal opinion, is an amazing game, and I kind of really wish that they did expand upon that. But today I kind of really just want to talk about if we should get another one of these. Now, obviously people have been asking for 2D games for a very long time, and everybody was wondering why they still on 3D games, even after some of the recent 3D games have been really bad. Obviously Xenoverse is somewhat of an upstart to the 3D games. I mean, no matter what, people are going to say that they don't like certain Dragon Ball Z or anything like that, but Xenoverse without a doubt is the best one that we've had in quite a while in terms of 3D games, since probably Raging Blast 2, so that is a good thing, and a lot of people have been not liking, especially during the time where Ultimate Tenkaichi, DBs of Connect, and Ball Z came out. A lot of people were calling out for a 2D game, but we have gotten no answers in terms of that. A lot of people wonder why, and a lot of people are wondering what's happening with the 2D games. And obviously now there is a 2D game coming out called Super Extreme Budokai, which is on the 3DS, and it's made by the guys who made Guilty Gear, I believe, Arc System Works, who do make incredible games, and I'm thinking that Super Extreme Budokai will be a very good game. But a lot of people really want to see something along the lines of Budokai and Burst Limit on the consoles. They want to see a successor to those on the console, for the new consoles especially, and people really think that they could do a lot with that. I can imagine it was especially annoying for people when they saw that Dimps was coming back for a game and they thought it was going to be a 2D game, but then it ended up being a 3D one, their first 3D one, and I guess a lot of people were unhappy with that, and I don't blame them, honestly. Dimps did a very good job making 2D games. It was probably the best 2D series that I can recall as a kid that I really loved to play. I'm not saying that it's the best 2D series, because, you know, Budokai itself, and especially compared to other fighting games, is just bare bones basic. Like, let's be honest here. Budokai itself, it has a lot of combos and all that stuff, or at least a few combos, and that's really it. It's not anything along the lines of Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat. It can't even compete with those, in my personal opinion. I don't think really anyone can argue that it can't. But a lot of people, especially when they were younger, could say that they had a really good time with Budokai, and then obviously that was rekindled with Burst Limit, but then the 2D games kind of stopped happening for a long time, and a lot of people were calling out for a Budokai 4 Burst Limit 2. Now, as for the names of these, obviously I kind of addressed in my last video as to why the names of these will not happen. Budokai 4 will definitely not happen. Like, I can probably say 100%, yeah, but they'll never make a game called Budokai 4 now, I don't think, just because it's like, that series itself is so old that there wouldn't really be a reason to continue this. They would just make a new sort of way of doing Dragon Ball Z 2D games, like a new name for it, and then they will call it something else. It's kind of like how they may have wanted to call Raging Blast 1 Budokai Tenkaichi 4 when it came out for the Xbox 360 and PS3, but then they decided to rename it to Raging Blast. Obviously there are a lot of things that are different from Budokai Tenkaichi and Raging Blast, but you kind of get the point what I mean here. So Budokai 4 and Burst Limit 2, I don't think those names will be used, but I do think that hopefully one day it would be really nice to see a 2D game come out for the consoles for Dragon Ball again. Now, so the reason this hasn't been happening, well, I guess that it's really just the amount of sales that it's been getting. Obviously, Burst Limit did sell not too awful, or at least from my understanding. Budokai 3, as we all know, Budokai 1, 2, and 3 all sold very well, and that's probably why they made an HD collection for it, because they probably thought that people really would want to see that. The HD collection didn't seem to do so hot, or at least from my understanding and from obviously the records online of how much it sold, so I don't think that they would be making any more 2D games on the consoles. The Dragon Ball fandom kind of seems to have evolved since the Budokai days in terms of what they want. It seems like now that DBZ and Dragon Ball in general fans really are looking more towards something that's close to the show. Now, even though there are a lot of people that do really want to see something that rekindles the Budokai feeling on stuff, feeling like more of a fighting game than 3D games, a lot of people actually don't like that. I know, because I made videos of this in the past, or talking about this in the past, and people have said that they really don't want another 2D game because it doesn't feel like the show to them. And on that I can actually agree, because Budokai themselves do not really feel like the show. The 3D games themselves definitely hold a better candle in terms of having a very more realistic way of looking at it from the show standpoint. If someone plays Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 3 after actually watching the show, they'll feel more like they're playing the show in a way than what they would happen for Budokai. Keep in mind, I'm not saying Budokai is a bad game, not by any means. I love Budokai and I love Burst Limit, but these two do not kind of hold the same fire when it comes to rekindling what people want from the show. Does this make them bad? No, but this does kind of have an effect on the Dragon Ball Z fan base. A lot of the fan base are kids, and that's obvious, and a lot of the kids actually want the show experience and not the Budokai experience, to where it's like, it's very kind of combat heavy, and you know, you're kind of really grounded for a lot of the time unless you just like fly into the air or anything like that. You don't really have a lot of ways to fly around like you can in 3D games, obviously, but you know, even that aside, I know a lot of people don't really want a 2D game anymore, and a lot of people do want a 2D game now. So, you know, personally, I think that this would be a very cool thing to happen. I really hope that at one point Dimps may make another kind of entry into the 2D game series, and hopefully this time they can actually finish it, because for those of you who didn't know, Burst Limit just was not finished. You can even see it in some of the movies. In the movies for the bonus movies that you see in Burst Limit, you actually see that they have Mecha Frieza's model in a cutscene and all that stuff, but he was never playable. He was never even a cutscene in the actual game. They only had him planned out and put him in the movie, but they weren't able to actually completely finish him and put him into the game. Obviously with the Buu Saga 2. Now, a lot of people thought this was going to be the same sort of thing as the first Budokai game for Burst Limit, where it's just like, yeah, they're putting it in, only the Cell and Frieza saga, but at this point, that wasn't really the case. They just weren't able to finish it. So honestly, I think a 2D game on the new consoles, PS4, Xbox One, and PC would be amazing to come out, especially if the game does get finished, and we can maybe get some movie characters in there as well, like Super Janemba, maybe Android 13, or a few other movie characters that are awesome, Super Gogeta, and Super Vegito, all that stuff. We could actually get to see those characters in 2D again, in better quality, because, you know, the last time we did see those guys was in the PS2 days, in 2D at least. So, tell me what you guys think in the comments down below. Do you guys want to see a new entry into the 2D series of Dragon Ball games, or do you guys like the 3D style more? It's no problem if you like the 3D style more, because I personally think that it does capture the show a lot more, and it would make a lot of sense for a lot of you Dragon Ball fans to want to play the 3D games instead of the 2D ones. But for you 2D enthusiasts out there, tell me what you think in the comments down below. Do you want to see another 2D game? Please leave your actual feedback in the comments, because I really like to read that. And yes, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you guys enjoyed it, make sure to leave a like down below, as well as subscribe to this channel if you did enjoy the discussion. And yes, I will see you guys later. Have a great day. Later.